Hello there and welcome to the last part of my C tutorial, that is structure and union. Previously we have worked with array, in which we have seen that in an array we can work with either float or integer or double or string. But we cannot work with all of them together at the same time, which we can do in structure. In structure we can use integer, float, string, double all at the same time. So let's find out how we can work with structures in C. So for that, let's open Turbo C++. It's opening. Okay, now let us call the header files first. Include stdio.h hash include string.h, then hash include conio.h. Okay, now we will be creating a structure. So struct employee. Name of the structure is employee. Now inside in this program what we'll do is we'll create employee details. So inside the employee we'll be initializing certain variables. Let us initialize 4 variables, that is name, designation, ID and salary. So char name of 100, char desig of 100, int ID, float salary sal. Remember, a structure must end with a semicolon after the close brace. So we have created the employee structure. Now let us initialize another function called printin. So what we are going to do over here? Over here inside printin we will write struct employees. Inside printf we are calling the employee structure as employees. Okay. Now let us start the main function. So int main, we are making this function as integer type. So it will have a return value. So clr scr and get ch with return 0. Now inside this main function what will happen? Will be first of all what we will do is we will assign values to the variable. Above these 4 variables, we will assign values to these 4 variables inside the main function. So how we can do that? Let's first call the structure. So struct employee as employee1. We are calling the structure employee as employee1. Then strcpy string copy employee1 dot name comma John. Here what is strcpy? Strcpy is string copy and it's a function inside string header file which is used to copy a string onto another string. Here what we are doing is we are copying this string on this string, that is we are assigning John into name. Now what is name? Actually John is getting stored in employee.name. So what is employee.name? Employee1.name. What is this? Employee1, we are calling the structure employee as employee1. Then we are storing the value John in employee1.name. This means this name is a variable used in structure employee. So employee1, using employee1, we are storing this value John in name variable which is inside the structure employee. Let me describe this once again. We are calling the function employee as employee1. Okay. Then in the next line we are assigning a value John into name which is a variable inside employee structure, and using this employee1 we are storing this John value in the variable name which is residing inside the structure employee. Now in the same way, strcpy string copy employee1 dot desi comma manager. In the same way over here we are storing the value manager in desi using employee1, and this desi is actually residing inside this employee structure, and using employee1 we are assigning the value manager in desi which is residing in the structure employee. Now employee1 dot id equal to 204, and employee1 dot cell equal to 4445000.00. Then print him employee1. Lastly, what I have written, it is employee1 print him within bracket employee1. So what it will do, it will print all these details. All the details that I have given you here, that is John, manager, 204 and 45,000.00, it will print everything. So now how it will print? Void main, void printing, print him struct employee. We are calling the employee as employees. So now what we are going to do is we will be printing the values. So struct employee employees, then bracket start. Now we will be printing the values. So for that, let us print the values. Print f employee name percentage s backslash n comma employees dot name, then print him printf employee designation percentage s backslash n comma employees dot desig then printf employee id %s \n employees dot id, then printf employee salary %s \n employee dot sal. Okay, now let's find out. Okay, no error, and it has given me employee sal null, and it has shown me certain errors. So in that case, let's find out what is the error. Float sal. Okay, let it be d because id is integer and sal is float, so %f. Now let's see. Okay, so it has given me the output correctly, as the employee name is John, employee designation as manager, employee ID is 204, and employee salary is 45,000. Now how it is actually happening? Let us start from the beginning. At first, what we have done, we have called the header files as usual, stdio, string and conio. Then we have created the employee structure. Inside the structure, we have initialized 4 variables: name as char, then desig as char, id as integer, and sal as float. Then we have initialized another function called printing. And one thing remember, we have over here, what we have done is we have ended the structure with a semicolon. Structures always end with a semicolon after close brace. Always remember that. Then what we have done is we have initialized a function called printemp as void, and inside that function as parameter we have done what we have done is we have called the structure employee as employees. Okay, then inside the main function we have again called the structure employee as employee1, and using this employee1 we have assigned certain values to each of the variables which reside in the employee structure. Like name, we have assigned John in name, and this name is residing inside the structure employee. Then we have assigned manager in desig, which resides in the structure employee. Then we have assigned 204 in id, which resides inside the employee structure, and we have assigned 45,000.00 in sal, which resides inside the employee structure, and all we have done by using employee1. So over here we again called the function printemp, and we are printing employee1. Then we close the main function with getch and return 0. Now inside printemp we have called the employee structure again using employees, and using these employees we are printing the values of name, desig, id and sal from the main structure employee over here, because all the values are stored over here right now. So what is happening is, using this employees I am calling the values of name, desig, id and sal and printing them directly on the output screen. So going through this, I think you have understood how the structure works. Now let's find out with user input. So to do that, let's do one thing. Let's initialize certain variables, a of 100, then b of 100, two character variables, then int n and float d. Then let's give a design printf enter employee details. Okay. Now scanf or gets of A, gets of B, scanf %d %f comma and in comma and d. So now in place of John we will be writing A, let's see if it is working or not. Let's find out. Oops, 4 errors. So let's find out this time. Enter employee details. Name is, suppose I give any other name, Max, whose designation is associate. His ID is 500. Not 500. Let's give it 301. And his salary is 14,000. So it has printed all the details. I did the user input at first, Max, associate, 301 and 1400, and then it has printed all the details in a definite pattern that we have given in the printf function. It has printed the values as Max, associate, 301 and 14,000.000. So what is actually happening over here? Inside the main function we have done the user input of name, desig, ID and salary. Then we have we copied the name, or better to say we have assigned the name and the desig in name and desig respectively, which are stored in the structure employee using employee1. Then what we are doing is we are again assigning the values of in and d in ID and cell, which are situated inside the structures employee using employee1. So after doing so, what we have done is we have just printed the values. So this is how we work with user input part. At first we initialize the variables, then we do the user input of name as A, desig as B, then ID as N and cell as D. Then we are copying the values of A, B, N and D, which we have done user input, into the variables which we have already created in the structure employee. That is, variables are name, desig, ID and cell, and we have used employee1 to do that, and then we are printing employee1, and this employee1 is actually the values of A, B, N and D, which are stored in name, desig, ID and cell and which are already created in the employee structure. And finally we are printing employee 1, that is we are printing the values of A, B, N and D as name, basic ID and cell. By using employees, we are calling the function, we are calling those values of those variables which are stored in the structure employee. That is, by using employees, what we are doing is we are calling the values of this employee basic ID and cell and printing them. So I think you have understood the function of structure and how it works. Okay, but this is not all. There is another part of this chapter, that is union, which we will be getting to know in the next part of this same chapter. So please stay tuned for the next and the last part of this chapter, that is union. So thank you for now and have a great day.